Hey everybody, welcome back. So this week I want to show you how to program a power steering control module on a 2019 Audi Q5. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Curtis Harden. I'm an independent Autel diagnostic consultant. What I do is align people with the right diagnostic package and give them the one-on-one training that you see in this presentation. So if you would like to get results, want to get on the right track, go to auteltech.co.za and book the diagnostic tool consultation. Now, by the end of this presentation, you're going to learn the following. You're going to see what tools were used to conduct this procedure, why some remanufactured aftermarket components fail, how to tell whether the remanufactured part is faulty or an underlying condition is causing the fault, what Audi's procedure requires after replacing the power steering control module, and lastly, how to program the replacement steering control module on a 2019 Audi Q5. Now, the tools used in this case study are the following: the VCMI, or your J2534, Windows 11 laptop with ODIS loaded on it, your power steering rack, and a battery maintainer. Okay, so bit of background. My client's customer had a 2019 Audi Q5 with a complete loss of the steering assist. So through troubleshooting, the shop was led to replace the electronic steering rack assembly. And the rack included a power steering control electronics. So after they did basic settings and a steering angle relearn and alignment, the driver assist warnings and incorrect coding, gateway, and communication faults appeared. Okay, so what my client did was, after the resets didn't help, he reached out to me to see if we maybe, programming the module to confirm if that would be the solution or if we had a faulty module. Okay, so put it in perspective. The client owns the Ultra. They put in the steering rack, and mind you, they got this from a aftermarket supplier. Okay, and what they did was they did the basic settings and adaptations from the Autel after everything was installed, and then it wasn't, the codes were just all over the place. Okay, so what I did was I remoted into his laptop and I programmed the module and did all the basic settings and relearns, and we still had all these codes. Okay, so then I was thinking, like, normally when you program something and do everything to the T, these codes should be virtually gone. So I was thinking, okay, there's a couple possible issues. It could be the coding, right, which I doubt, because when you're using their software, they'll tell you if something doesn't go through or not. Okay, and everything went through perfectly. We got confirmations on every programming to adaptation point. It could be the actual module, or it could be a network issue. So when I was brainstorming with my client, he said, "You know what, Kurt, when we got the vehicle, when it first came into the shop, it didn't have all these codes. It was only till afterwards, when we programmed it, all these codes were popping up." So that's when I suspected that it could be the actual module. It was bringing all those other things down. And what I realized is some of these aftermarket parts are being made from different manufacturers. So, maybe the build quality wasn't right. They put, missing data, wrong software, maybe it has use history on it. And, we can't actually write over onto the module. Okay. And that's why I've seen this multiple times. I remember I had one client, he bought like brakes from Toyota, and the pads, they look different. It's because they came from different manufacturers. Okay. So he told me that if it didn't work, we could take it back. So that's exactly what I told him to do. I said, call AutoZone, return the unit and receive another one, and then we'll give it another go. Okay. So this is the instructions from the manufacturer. Unfortunately, Audi isn't super detailed, but I've done enough of these where you know, I can give you the full workflow, which is this. So first we're going to ID the vehicle with ODIS, then we're going to go to the guided functions, and then we're going to do the coding with ODIS, then the basic settings, then the steering angle in-stop adaptation, and then we're going to do the full fault scan. All right, so this is the workflow that I'm going to follow. Okay, so let's go right into it. Step number 1, start the guided replacement test plan. So you can see here, I'm already loaded into ODIS, and I selected the replace control unit routine, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and initiate this by clicking the done and continue, and we're just going to look at the status here while it do its thing. It's a lot of things that it goes through, and this is important. You know, we're not just clearing faults or doing basic resets. We're telling the factory software that a new control unit has been replaced, and that, you know, the vehicle needs to accept it. So this is why we are doing this procedure. Okay, I'm just gonna fast forward this, you guys, because it's a lot of Star Trek language, and the most important thing is to know the function route on where to go. Okay, so we have confirmation here. Okay, and now we're gonna go ahead and do the next step, which is to code the power steering control module. Okay, so you can see here, we're going to click done and continue, and then we have confirmation that the module has been successfully coded. All right, but let me go back. This is important. It says to complete the initiation of the replace control module, run the following programs, the basic settings. Okay, so that's exactly what we're going to do. Begin the basic settings. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to go exit out of here, go to control unit, and then I'm going to locate the power steering and go to guided functions and select the basic settings on the top right there. All right, and then I'm going to click run. I'm going to go ahead and run this routine. Ignition's on. Okay, we're going to press continue. All right, and then we're going to just follow the prompt, and then once that has been done, okay, we can go on to the next step, which is to adapt the steering limit stops. So very simple. It's an automated process. We're going to go ahead and click continue. It's telling us what it's going to be doing here. All right, and then we're going to turn the steering wheel to the full left and then lock, and then we're going to do, after that, hold the steering wheel at the full mechanical lock for at least 5 seconds with a hand torque of that dimension, and then until the there's an acoustic signal that sounds. Okay, so the technician's doing that right now, and then once he communicates that it has been done, we'll go ahead and proceed. And it says here, turn the steering wheel. I think it's going to tell us to turn the ignition on and off. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Okay, it says here, turn the steering wheel to the center steering position. Okay, and then once that's done, we'll click continue. And then it says switch the ignition off and then switch it on. So I just waited for the tech to do that. Okay, and once that has been communicated, we'll click done. All right, and then once we do that, this will bring us to our last step, and that's to run the post-repair fault scan. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I wanted to verify this distance regulation module, because that was one of the faults that was on his dash that wasn't there initially when the car came. Okay, so I'm going to go to event memory, and then I'm going to click run, and we're going to let it do its thing here. All right, you can see a bunch of codes there, but don't worry. All right, so these were the codes in that module. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to click delete event memory on the right here. All right, we're going to click yes, and then everything was gone. Okay. All right, and after we do that, I'm going to clear and confirm all the codes. So these are the existing codes. This is the electronic central electric. Same process, guided functions. And then we're going to do the event memory. All right, and we're going to click delete event memory. And then that's done. And we're just going to repeat this process. Now, you guys, there's an easier way to do this, but for whatever reason, I just did it this way. Okay. And I'm just doing this until all the codes were gone. I wanted to see what codes were there, just in case they didn't go away. All right, and then as you can see, there's no codes. All right, so we have a happy client and a much more happier customer. Okay, so key takeaways: always do your pre-scans first. So you want to capture a baseline of the module and network faults before you do any programming or repair, so you can tell what the new part introduced. Okay, without that post scan, there's no way for us to verify if those faults were there or not. Okay, very important. Second, always give your customers options. You know, show them the path of buying it from the OEM, and then, you know, the risks involved in buying with the aftermarket. And when you explain these risks, you know, at least they have enough information to make an educated decision. Okay. Next, you want to always check the manufacturer's installation procedure. And this way you will be able to know exactly what needs to be done when you're doing the job. And then next, if more faults happen after the swap, it's probably the part. Okay, so if the original module had, you know, one isolated fault, and then the new or remanufactured unit shows more faults after everything has been programmed and relearned, you might have an issue with that new part that you purchased. Okay, that's just from my programming experience. And then lastly, having a consultant not only helps you fix the fault, but also understand the why behind it. And this is very important. A lot of times we get in situations where something happens and you don't have anybody to explain things to you, so you can take that knowledge for the next time. Okay, so as I said, if you want to get on the right track, go to auteltech.co.za and I'll get you with the right tool, and then we can build that working relationship. So with that, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this short presentation, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.